All right. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, here we are. Welcome everyone into the stream. We are live. It's working. It's working. We've got a bit of a Frankenstein setup going on here at head office. Andrew Durbidge, Lachlan Watt, Miranda Lidgerwood, welcome us all. Hello, and I'm Matt Bailey, of course. Good to see you all. Welcome to a Heretical Night virtual tasting. One of a very exciting virtual that we've been looking forward to for some time. In terms of just exploring some of the flavors and some of the experiments that the Society Whiskey team have put together over the years, or in this case, more recently. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good to see everybody again. Always a pleasure to join the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society crew, and great to see you, Lachlan, and you, AD.
Pleasure as always. Great to see you. We've got the A team back on tonight, so that's great.
Absolutely.
I'll take it.
We'll take it. Yeah, we'll take it. It sounds like a compliment. I think
it does.
Yeah. So it's. I think we might just. I want to just show a quick sort of few images, real quick. Or if I can work out how to bring that up again, I might jump into that a bit later. But just to give you a bit of context into tonight, the whiskey team at SMWS have been working on Heresy bottlings, as you'll see from your menus, for some time. If we flick to your menus that are in your virtual boxes, it says One Heretical Night since its inception, the Heresy range, which, by the way, was never intended to be a public-facing name for the range. That's a really important note to start us off with. The Heresy range officially sort of started with Exotic Cargo, one of which I know Andrew will remember and Lockie will remember from the bar, and it's just this. It was a 10-year-old blended malt from the whiskey team, from Kai and Euan's sort of box of wonders. And when it came together, it was spirit that was purchased from, I can probably say, Edrington Group. I'm going to avoid distillery names in this case, which there was an opportunity to buy blended make. Andrew, I think
still here. Just realised I didn't have glasses ready. You don't need to see me setting up my glasses. So
all right, I thought you dropped out. Okay, all good. So we'll just see what's happening on the chat. Hello, everyone. Oh, good to see all these comments coming in.
Bye-bye.
Howard, Dov, Betty, Snags, evening all. A team indeed. Look at this. Is that Snags or Snogs? I can't see that from this distance.
Snags 23.
Snags 23. Evening all. A team indeed. So it's great to see you all in here. Like I said, this whole sort of idea of the Heresy range started with glassware. Those glasses. I thought you meant you're changing your spectacles.
I've got all my whiskies lined up, and then I just saw Lachlan have a nose of his, and I realised I don't have my glasses ready to go. But so I'm armed and dangerous now.
Okay, we now know which glasses you're referring to.
So much for the bloody A team, hey?
We're now sort of B+ team. We'll see how we end up at the end of the night. But this is the whole idea with the Heresy range sort of started with that blended make. So it was a bunch of new makes that were blended at make level into casks.
It's really cool.
It's like you don't hear that often, where the intended result from the beginning is a blended malt rather than one that's blended at the end. So it obviously married a bit differently in those casks rather than it coming together at the end there, which I think is an interesting way of doing it. And there was an accidental second Heresy release, which was the 11-year-old Exotic Cargo, because European branches felt left out by not getting any of the Exotic Cargo batch one, and it ticked over to an 11-year-old in those casks that was left over, and so it was bottled for the European market as an accidental 11-year-old.
Wow.
But that was the first official Heresy release. The unofficial ones before that were some of the experiments and things that the Society had played around with in the past, like the Last Dram and the Millennium Malt and all these other things that they'd worked on and created that were, I guess, heretical against not being single cask strength whiskies. And fast forward to today, we now have 5 Heresy releases in front of us, 2 of which have just very recently come out and 3 of which are soon to come out. So we're getting a nice taste of where that program's sort of moved to. But we do call them heresies now. We call them heretical. We call them part outside of the range, a bit of experimentation, and still that sort of sense of full member approval. What do you think of these? And we'd love to see your comments and your notes in the chat. Please type them in the chat below. These bottlings, a certain number of them are available for tonight, which I'll throw up some QR codes as we go along. But I asked Miranda, you poured yours a bit early.
I wanted to let them open up a little bit.
Okay, and give us the rundown. Why would we do that? Why would we, just for those who are playing along at home?
Just give a little bit of a chance for the whiskies to get some air. let those initial volatile compounds blow off if there are any that are coming straight when you pour your glass. The same kind of volatile compounds you get if you swirled your glass a little bit too much, stuck your nose straight in there and it just burnt a little bit. Yeah, I want to just give the whiskies a chance to breathe, really.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Have we all poured a few of the drams so far? Everyone, if you're playing along at home, I do encourage a bit of pre-pouring as Miranda's done. Just the whiskey's a bit of air time, a bit of time in the glass. And we're going to kick straight off with the first one in our lineup, I think, is Gastronomic Fusion.
Yeah, it smells
really
really
It is, yeah.
So batch 27. So the 27th Heresy we've ever made. So you can see the batch numbers are just which Heresy is which.
How long ago was batch 1, did you say, the marriage of those drinking casks?
About 8-9 years ago.
8-9 years ago. Wow,
Yeah.
so this is a growing
Yeah.
growing thing that the SMWS is doing. So that thing that you mentioned of member input has the opportunity to truly affect upcoming releases.
Yeah. You're quite used to sort of nosing and tasting whiskies for a bit of a living these days. So tell us, where are you working and what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm working with Sullivan's Cove Distillery at the moment. I've been there for I think 3 years, 9 months or so. I cut my teeth at Whiskey and Element, where Lachlan and I both work for both Whiskey and Element alum. It was really there that I started honing in on whiskey tasting and becoming super passionate about it. I went down what I call my flavor-driven rabbit hole, where you first start really detecting notes in whiskey, and then you just lights a fire in you, and you really need to know where those notes come from and how that flavor gets into that glass. So, my hat goes off to Brooke and Jules every single time I talk to my journey, because they really did foster that love for whiskey that I had with those monthly palate training sessions, access to the back bar, the incredible training that they have there. And then after 4 years of being the events manager at Whiskey and Element, I moved over to Sullivan's Cove. I moved down to Tassie for the first year and a half. I was in a full sensory and split marketing role. So I was leading the tasting panel there every morning, getting up bright and early, getting to the distillery, turning the heater on, setting the whiskies up, warming up those whiskies as well, so that those aromas are really alive when the other panel members sit down. And we would track the maturation of every single cask throughout the bond store. So we'd start tasting casks at around 6 years old, because Sullivan's Cove doesn't tend to be ready before that. And from that moment onwards, it would enter the tasting schedule. We would visit a glass and say, maybe this needs another summer, maybe it can't take another summer, maybe this needs to be moved around, just checking on them. So it was a really beautiful thing to be a part of, to be able to watch and witness and track the maturation of these barrels, every little flavor change and what's causing that. And also I'd write the tasting notes. So that was really fun. And I still do the tasting notes, but I've since moved back to Melbourne, so can no longer, unfortunately, be a part of the panel that I love so much, just being remote now. So I'm in a little bit of more of a branded communications marketing role, which is really fun, because I get to get out there and actually tell the story of the whiskies to people and get back in front of people, as you guys know I love, or you guys that I've met on the stream before know I love from previous SMWS tastings at Whiskey and Element. So yeah, that's the quick one too of where I'm at.
That's awesome. That sort of drives that discussion about how everyone's got a different sort of journey in their whiskey and how they get into it. And I think that the Heresy range, if I'm looping it back into that for a second, is a great way for, I guess, many first-time whiskey drinkers, but also seasoned society members to re-explore whiskey and sort of almost reset the palate of it, rather than always being single cask. This first one, I saw a question from Dov, is Gastronomic Fusion, single grain Scotch whiskey. This with batch 27 we're starting with there. I'll throw the little link up if anyone wants to grab one of those. That's just there on the screen. This is a very affordable new release from the SMWS. It's $150. We got 72 of them. You can see it. You can see the Heresy batches are quite big in some cases. This one generated just over 1,300 bottles.
Wow.
To the global outturn. It was a mixture of first and second fill ex-bourbon hoggies. There's a slight. I'm picking up the slightest hint of peat.
I actually find a ton of peat on this for a single grain as well.
Yeah, a lot for a grain. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very rare to see a peated single grain, which is quite exciting. And I understand why we're doing this at the start of the tasting, but it is. Yeah, it's got. I love this tasting note. Reading through this of smoked salmon and lemon zested crème fraîche. It's bang on.
It's really robust. It's got those really cool kind of up there herbal notes, as well as some fun, like funky veggies coming in, and this almost like beautiful, when you're not corked, but when you smell a really beautiful old cork that is kind of smelling like that for some reason, in a really beautiful, like untraditional way. I get so bored of like vanilla, coconut. Not that those aren't lovely flavors, but I just love when things go left of center in the tasting wheel. And this is definitely doing that.
You know what it actually reminds me of? And anyone who either lives in Hobart or Tasmania or visits there frequently and goes to the New Sydney Hotel when they haven't lit their fire yet, the venue smells like that, like white ash on red bricks. And
totally. And that's a great bar. Love the New Syd. And the SMWS shelf there looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a cool story behind that for another time. But yeah, this is the youngest whiskey in the lineup tonight. No, that's not true. Second youngest. I almost forgot about the last one. But yeah, I think I love that first line of the aroma was that of the ultimate ham and cheese sandwich. It's like that sort of. It is a bit ham and cheese in that. It's a bit Andrew, give us some thoughts? What are you picking up on?
I'm kind of with everyone else. You see the word single grain, you do not expect to detect peat, and there's something there. So yeah, it's a curiosity. I mean, the first thing when I noticed it was I thought, well, this has actually got something. Particularly for a young grain, if you think about it, with the exception of some of those Japanese grains that we had that were quite young. Typically, Scottish grains do tend to get aged through to much older ages until and half the reason for that is a lot of them are just filled into very old, second fill, third fill, fourth fill casks. So to sort of put that up to your nose and straight off the bat get a big burst of aroma and certainly flavour on the palate for something so youthful, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration. It's a revelation. That's the word I'll use. It's a very, very pleasant grain whiskey. And if someone, let's be honest, if you're a whiskey enthusiast and someone said to you, "Here, have a grain," you'd probably go, but once you nose this, you'd go, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah, it's much more of a full sandwich than the usual sort of grain whiskey. I think the peat really lifts it up a bit, and it gives that lovely sort of, sort of like Dijon mustard and smoked salmon and sort of thing going on.
Yeah,
especially for this age.
Yeah, particularly for its age. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In a lot of conversations, I'll hear grain whiskies or grain-based spirit referred to or talked about as like a beautiful canvas for oak character and a place for oak character to come and shine and pre-fill to come and shine, just a bit of a canvas. But it really isn't the canvas here. It's kind of the main part, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people saying pre-poured and ready to roll. That's great to hear, Stephen. Snag says, Heresy bottles have been brilliant, in my opinion. Danish Nougat was a standout. Danish Nougat was delightful whiskey. That was a tremendously nice whiskey. And the name behind the Danish Nougat was because all those casks were from an actual traditional dunnage at that distillery that we sourced them from, at that distillery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Danish Nougat is still one of the best Heresy releases I've had to date.
And Dave, as always, mate, is the blessing and the curse, I guess, of being in Western Australia. 4 p.m. West Australian drams. Woo! Good way to finish your afternoon, I guess.
I get the blessing. What's the curse? Drinks at 4 o'clock.
Exactly. Nice haircut, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Jose. The man bun has disappeared yet again. But thanks for tuning in as always. What does single grain mean? That's a very good question. So, question from Stephen says, "What does single grain mean?" In this case, it's grain whiskey, aka it could be barley, it could be other grains, it could be wheat, rye, all that kind of stuff, corn. But it's from one distillery, but it's been distilled in a column still, so a continuous column still, or so it's in this case, in this particular case, it is through a particular column still as well. So it's from one distillery. And it's a mixture of grains. Single grain doesn't mean one grain. It doesn't mean it's 100% corn or 100% rye. It just means it's a mixture of grains. Just as you could use a mixture of malts in your maltings for a single malt, you can use it. So I hope that helps.
Mixture of malting, your malting. Say that 5 times fast.
After 5 grams. 5 times fast after 5 grams.
Matt, I didn't do my homework on this, but is this from that distillery that's very close to Loch Lomond?
No.
Body of water?
No, it's a distillery that's in a little town called Alexandria, where you just try your best not to get stabbed. Really,
right? That one, okay.
So it is that distillery.
The Swiss Army knife. I
The
believe.
Swiss Army knife of distilleries. Actually, that's a good one. I haven't heard that.
We are talking about the same distillery, by the way.
Yeah, we are. Okay, we are. Sorry, you did.
Yes.
You said the name. I was just trying to avoid saying the name.
No, like it's a genuine body of water called Loch Lomond, and that's the loch I was referring to. And this distillery is very close to there.
Yes, got you. Lovely gentle smoke, says Joel, which is great. Almost like a jumper smell in the morning after sitting around a fire all night. Yeah, like that the New Sydney Hotel fireplace example before. It's like that whole sort of like gentle smoke that's been lingering on a fuzzy jumper that you left at the pub from the night before.
Woolly lanolin jumper.
I think that my only objection with the New Sydney Hotel is that it's not in Sydney. It really needs to come up here. It is such a good venue. It's one of my favourite pubs.
It is. It's awesome. Although you can't get too close to that fireplace, otherwise the puffer just ignites. Getting dangerously close to that fireplace before.
Oh yeah. A shock to the palate for the first whiskey. That's true. Second mouthful is okay. There is something here. Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to determine a lineup like this and which order to do them in, because it's kind of like they're not with single casks. I think it's much easier because they're quite concentrated flavors of what each flavor profile sits in. These don't have flavor profiles, so it's kind of like, well, where would you go bounce between the two? We started with the grain because grain is traditionally a bit lighter than malt whiskies, but in not every case. I mean, starting with a little bit of peat, it might be nice to have a snack or eat something or have a glass of water between this and the next whiskey, but I think we should press on either way.
Just before we do press on, Matt, if someone held a gun to your head and said, what flavoured profile would you put this in? Would you go lightly peated or oily and coastal?
What profile would you put it in?
I'd put it in. I'd probably lightly peated. I knew you were going to break eventually. I'd probably put it in lightly peated.
I was watching. It wasn't loaded. Don't worry.
I'd agree with you, Matt. I reckon lightly peated for this. It doesn't have the salt or the texture that you'd want from something oily and coastal.
Yeah, I'm not picking up any sort of like black salt or tarry rope or anything on that. It's a lovely sort of like fishy sort of smoke a little bit on that one, but it's not a heavily peated or oily.
No.
Let's call that lightly peated. But yeah, okay. Number 2 in our lineup is in order, so we're going to go with Spruce on the Loose for our next one here. I'll bring that up here. Here we go. Lovely. So Spruce on the Loose, batch 28. Now this one really sort of like this has got a cool backstory as well. There's a backstory on the bottle. There's backstory in your tasting notes a bit as well. However, there's an additional backstory to this, which I just want to touch on real quick as we're having a nose. The brewery that we've collaborated with is called Wasted Degrees. Fantastic little craft brewery in Scotland. And it came about because the co-owner and co-founder of Wasted Degrees is Jack Lowe, of which he used to work at SMWS. And he was on the commercial team at SMWS, but he was a whiskey guy, sure, but he was very much a beer guy. And he sort of worked at SMWS for a couple of years and then went, no, I'm gonna go make beer. But he maintained a very good relationship with us, and as a result, we've kept working with him. And this is a collaboration directly with Wasted Degrees Brewing. And this is a very cool sort of example of using spruce tip stout barrels and different cask types to create, I would call a beer lover's kind of whiskey, this one.
Yeah.
Very different. Also quite old for Heresy, let's be honest. Most of the releases are experimental. They're 8 to 10-year-old kind of releases that are, hey, what do you think of this kind of thing? Or even sometimes younger. This is a 17-year-old whiskey and bottled at 50%. And as it says, back in 2022, we sent some freshly empty barrels to the brewery from distilleries 5, 9, and 108. So that's something that we haven't really done much with Heresy. We haven't really disclosed the codes or the casks very well because we want you, again, focus on flavor, not about...
There's so much sweetness, so much like jelly beans and candies and white sugar.
I will say that I've never seen, I've only seen 2 spruce tip stouts in Australia to date, the actual beers themselves. I doubt we would have seen anything like that before. as far as SWS whiskey.
That's really cool. And this combination of barrels as well. You've got the forest aromatics from a grassy lowland, a heathery highland, and a fruity spey all in one.
Yeah.
I just love this. There's like a burnt brown sugar and candy floss thing going on in here.
The candy floss thing is just fire.
Like
it's also like lime jelly on the nose.
Yeah.
Betty approved.
I'm really curious to see how the palate goes after this just incredibly vibrant, fruity, sweet nose.
Now this one has previously been released. This is one of the ones that we just put out recently. So it's been members have been picking up on it because it's just phenomenal whiskey.
Like lychee.
Yeah, lychees. Yeah.
Lockie and I showcased this at Whiskey Fair in Sydney back in September, and each time I had a sip of it, I just wanted to reach for a very hoppy pale ale. It just seems to.
Yeah.
This just lend. I know, it's almost psychosomatic there with the stout barrels, but this just lends itself to a Boilermaker with a decent beer.
Well, I just reach over to my right here.
Left here.
Something I prepared earlier.
Here's one I prepared earlier. Yeah.
Oh, we've got the cheese on the first one. Sorry, here on microphone cheese. Ding.
That palate totally up the nose as well. That's just beautiful. And then right there on the transition from the palate to the finish, there's just this big whack of like beautiful mint leaf lolly.
Well, that says that spruce tip. So that spruce tip, the flowering kind of bud at the end of the branches of spruce trees, when they put that in the brew, it adds this citrusy, really candied kind of sweetness to the brew itself, especially when it's something like an imperial stout, like what they made. It just adds that citrusy sweetness. So that lime jelly, that candy floss that you're talking about, that's expected to be seen on that beer itself.
That's really interesting. The weight of the oak as well doesn't quite hit until the end, with a little bit of a resinous kind of lick up the finish, which is really beautiful and soft and unexpected for a 17-year-old whiskey.
Yeah. I love this note from Joel Rinaldi, the lemon cream biscuit.
Lemon cream biscuit notes. Yeah, it shows its age well. It's okay. Well, fine. They're here.
Oh no.
No. I'll open them just in case. We actually have like lemon cream biscuits here by accident.
By accident.
Full screen.
Gonna maybe eat the crumbliest biscuit known to man on a live stream.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna. They're just there.
I'm dodging it. Picking up the whiskey.
They're just there. I think it shows its age well as well. It's got this. I think it's been bottled at the right age, if that makes sense. It's got this lovely sort of like depth of the character just on the nose and on the palate. Also, very risky if you think about it. Like if you're sort of working on this as a project and you're using 17-year-old whiskey from those three distilleries and saying, "Gee, I hope this works."
Absolutely.
Like you'd be sort of like just dreading if it didn't in some ways, As
part of the tasting panel at Sullivan's Cove, it's part of the job to identify casks that we think are going to be a good component for double cask early on in the process as well. So if something is just like hyper citrusy, hyper like up here, then you might identify that as a good blender because it doesn't have the total balance and harmony of the whole flavor wheel going on. But in saying that, you can put that little note against it and think, hey, maybe this one day will be a double cask component because it just has the missing piece that a double cask needs. But then it could continue to mature on, and that might change. And being able to change is so comforting, that the cask isn't locked into one destiny. Like it can all of a sudden hit the panel and then be rated unanimously ready to decant as a single cask by the whole panel, and that's what will happen. Nothing is ever fully committed to become a double cask.
Yeah, that's great.
I can't believe that this was a speculator. Like I don't think Euan just rolled the dice and said, "Oh, we'll just throw three 17-year-old casks in and hope for the best." I think it was he was inspired. Like he knew what he was doing. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly because this was. These casks were filled at 15 years old, I think, into the ex-stout casks.
Oh, 2 years in the stout cask. Wow.
Yeah.
And is there a blending trial that goes on before the casks are married, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Oh,
That's a great question.
Look, I know you and the panel go through things like every month. The tasting panel meet twice a month at the moment, and they would have sort of gone through blending process and trial process for those whiskies before they even got tipped. So, yeah, there would have been no guesswork. It would have been a case of like making sure that they worked how they wanted to.
I do love the idea though when you're doing a finish or an extra maturation of having to check back every 2 months, 3 months just to see, well, how's this new cask treating our baby, and tasting, and that's great. It's changed a little bit, and I guess the role of the dice is, gee, if we leave this for another month or two, will it continue to improve? And that's the great crystal ball with all blending, is at what point do you realize you've hit that peak, and anything from this point onwards is possibly downwards, and the whiskey may start to, I don't want to use the word deteriorate, but it won't shine as brightly as it could have had you bottled it earlier. And that's where you've just really got to take your hat off to the blenders when they get it right. It's and again, that's all skill and knowledge and experience over the years. But the fact that this, that's a relatively long maturation in a stout cask compared to what other people have done. More closer to home, our good friends at Bakery Hill in Melbourne have done some fantastic stout cask finish, but they were much shorter finishes.
Yeah. So they're only 6 to 9 months. The one thing I'll also reference to that point, and to your point as well, Miranda, is that this is not exclusively just the stout finished spirit. It's also some first filled bourbon barrels blended back in that are still at that same maturation level, just to balance out that flavor profile. So it's not exclusively all spruce tip stout.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hence, therefore, very much a blend. It's been beautifully blended.
Yeah. Really well executed.
Just
Did I do it right?
Am I pointing in the right direction for the QR up here? I did. That was good. That's sheer luck.
Nice.
Fantastic. Okay. I think that's a really fun whiskey, and I think that's one that I think it's a real sort of beer lovers whiskey. I know that seems really obvious given the collaboration here, but for those who are sort of into their beers and those who want something to pair it with, and there was a great suggestion from Dave. Dave, what do you think of that pairing that you said it was at the Perth event for this? It was paired with a red IPA from Campus Brewing, IPA from Campus Brewing. That sounds fun. I'd love to hear more about pairings that people are trying with these as well, because the whole idea of this range, the Heresy range, is to experiment and taste things and see what they go with.
Is that a new category of beer I'm not familiar with, or is it like intensely India Pale Ale? It is 2 eyes.
Yeah.
Imperial India IPA.
Okay.
India Pale Ale. Yeah.
As in IPA wasn't imperial enough for everyone, but anyway.
It must be more imperial. What was that? There was that beer from Hope Brewing years ago that was like a.
You're talking about the Rhino, the quadruple IPA.
Yeah, quadruple IPA.
That was just
I mean,
then they also did the F18, I think it was called, named after a plane. There was like a quintuple IPA.
Something like that.
silly.
All right. Spanish Splendor. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to Spanish Splendor. Here we go. Whiskey number 3. Now, this has only just been released. This was released on, I'm going to say, so Dave, it was actually really good. He says beer was about 7% ABV. Good to hear. This was just released. This came out last Friday. So like 4 days ago, this one. 5 days ago.
It smells incredible.
Woo!
It's butter.
Yeah, buttery. Buttery is right.
Burn noir too, like
Yeah.
that is butter, burnt butter in the frying pan with a little drizzle of honey. And there's a little bit, if you go closer, there's a little bit more butter in there as well.
It's super. Yeah, you're right. It is super brown butter, and they like creamed honey. The whipped honey. To the point that no, it's opaque.
It's lovely.
So this is full full maturation refill ex-bourbon hoggies, and then full maturation first fill Oloroso hoggies. Is that what I was reading correctly?
Yeah, so refill ex-bourbon and first fill ex-Oloroso hogsheads. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's actually a single malt.
It actually is a single malt. That's right.
Ah.
Yes.
Any clues?
There might be some. I thought there were some clues within the label.
I have two guesses.
What are your guesses? Yeah,
Can I
well,
just say-
can we guess distillery names? If we guess them out loud, is that okay? I think we can probably break that rule because we're not overtly saying, but you can take a guess. Well, that would be a very good guess.
Yeah.
A very good guess. Yeah, okay. Your guess, Andrew?
Well, you said look at the label, and all I'm seeing is Spanish.
Oh, you've got a condensed label. I mean, the miniatures and the full sizes have very different little clues on them. I think, unfortunately,
Oh, right.
it is a Highland distillery.
Right.
We know that much. That works remarkably well in ex-bourbon usually, but also works really well in ex-sherry, as this one shows.
Okay, well, that's not what I was thinking of then. So,
Yeah.
There's another clue just there. Whiskey and Aleman might be very familiar with this distillery too through the SMWS.
Well, we can't say distillery names on stream, so we
I
just have
already
to
said
say
it before.
You did say it before. You did say it before.
is it near a village with a very similar name, perhaps?
Perhaps. Yes. Yeah, but it's. I mean, that's phenomenal, though, isn't it? Isn't that just such an easy drinking whiskey?
The weight of that as well. The mouthfeel is just tremendous. It's buttery in texture, buttery in nose, buttery in palate.
Raw forest honey. I like that as a note.
Mm.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This is gorgeous, and that 50% is working well.
Yeah.
I can't help but feel I would love this even more at 54, 55%.
Really.
Yeah.
Will there ever be room for Heresy to play in that space, or?
Well, I'll let you in on a secret. Actually, I don't know if I hope Kai's never watching this. One of the little secrets is there was a Heresy that came out a couple of years ago, and I think there's actually some more floating around called Whiskey Baba, which used rum casks.
Yeah.
In that mix, and it was 58.4%. And when I quizzed the whiskey team on how come that Heresy could bottle at cask strength, and the answer was purely accidental. It didn't get watered down before we bottled it.
You're joking.
So like, because that was the cask strength, and they forgot the dilution stage of the production process. Which these mistakes in whiskey do happen, but it was actually a happy mistake because I actually think that whiskey worked really well at cask strength.
I love live streams like this because this is where you learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't supposed to happen, but
Yeah.
you know what? We lived with it.
I don't want to overplay the butter references here, but having tasted that now, that is just 100% butter melting over tip-top crumpets.
Yeah.
If you had tip-top crumpets with butter, that's this in a glass. They've somehow distilled that into liquid.
Yeah.
Blind tasting, I could have called this Glenrothes easily.
Yeah.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. The butter factory, you know.
Yeah, the Butter Factory.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when this came out in the UK, this was like they got 360 bottles or something, and it vanished in a day because people went, look at this. It's in Spanish references, big sherried whiskey, big buttery sort of notes. It's like, yeah, that's going to vanish. This has only just come out in Australia, and it's moving quite quickly. I can see a few people scanned the QR already on screen. If you did want to get a bottle of this, I wouldn't snooze on this, but this is a big sherried whiskey for just $169.
There is nothing subtle about the influence of the Oloroso in this.
No.
And oh no, sorry, I'm reading on to the next one. My apologies. I saw the letters PX, but that's the next one coming up.
No, we're not to get too ahead.
All right, now I'll withdraw that PX and.
Your Honor, that comment has been withdrawn.
So you're finding that you're getting more newcomers to the whiskey space through the Heresy range? Because it's a bit like, I don't know, I look at the labels, I'm like, they're so vibrant, the language so accessible, it's all kind of, I don't know, it feels a little bit more for the everyday person. Yeah,
I mean, it is. It's an interesting category because it's one that sort of accidentally spawned out of these project casks that Kai was working on, and then sort of became this thing that we continue to evolve, and even moving forward into next year, we're still going to get about 6 or 7 different heresies each year moving forward. So you're going to see one essentially every second outturn, a new heresy release, which is really exciting. And they're a little bit they're affordable, and they're a way for people to, I guess, get into the whiskey category and try them, see what the society's up to. So that's why I think even these sample packs are a great idea for people to sample them as well, as even a bit more broadly. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I think they're not very, in some ways, they're not very society, because they're sort of like, there's none of the nerdy details that you're sort of used to on the front of each label. It's just got sort of matured in a mixture of these sort of casks. It's 50%, and sometimes it has an age statement, and sometimes it might not, but generally it does. And I think we're going to have 1 or 2 without an age statement, but I don't really recall. Mark Modric says delicious. What flavour would you say a spruce and a loose is?
That's a good question.
I'd almost go spicy and dry. Spruce.
I'd go spicy and dry, and spicy and dry.
That's a hard one to categorize it, because it's got so complex heresy, that one.
Well, I've just gone back to it, and it's like evolving with every moment. The toasted marshmallow note is coming out really strongly and beautifully.
I'm going to add a little bit to what you and Miranda were just talking about. As you mentioned, I remember when the first Heresy release was done, I think it was 2017. And the only reason I remember that is because the walls of the upstairs of the Whiskey and Ailment were still white. They were still painted white. They weren't as dark as they are nowadays. And so I remember seeing the label in the archive when it first got installed, the archive. But the Heretical releases were a bit of a challenge for a lot of members, and for us as well, as long-term society, I guess, guardians, that we wanted to try and protect what the society meant. And then we started to see all these really exciting things happening with what we now call the Heresy series, as we are tonight. And I think this last 12 months, I've seen some of the best Heresy releases put forward. I mean, as I've mentioned, Dungeon Nougat is one of my favorite releases done to date. The Caramel Cascade, the Shimmering Silk. Yeah, phenomenal releases that have just really showcased what is possible when we don't just talk about single cask, single malt whiskey. And what Euan is capable of, basically, is what we're seeing. And
skills as a blender keep improving year on year.
Yeah.
As a creator of these products, I think they're fantastic.
But
there's a good guess from Darren. By the way, g'day, Darren and Carla. Good guess from Scarabus Driver here. Burnt butter equals Ben Nevis.
Yum.
That's a good guess for this distillery, for the distillery of Spanish Blender. Close, but no cigar.
I get what you're saying, though. That chewy toasted honey malt thing that Ben Nevis has.
I mean, even if you knew the distillery name so readily, I mean, would it make a huge difference to your enjoyment of it? That's the real question.
Yeah, it's unimportant.
This is bloody delicious. That's good to hear. It's good to hear. So many great comments coming through. Caramel Cascade is amazing. I've had Summertarium Bar last Tuesday. Those who are in WA watching along, those who are tuning in at their 4:40 p.m. right now, definitely drop into Terrarium, great bar, and Bar Lafayette over there as well, and just around the corner. And Lachlan tasting note from a banger Ben Nevis whiskey helmet 7 or 8 years ago. More Ben Nevis references. Interesting. Couldn't possibly say. But this is a lovely example of a sherry whiskey. Andrew, there was a question I was going to flick over to you, actually. Where is it? Stephen asks, so Oloroso is another way of describing the impact of sherry casks.
You'd like me to answer that?
Yeah, sure.
Well, Oloroso is one of the styles of sherry, a make of sherry. The sherry, there's, I can't remember the exact number now, is it 7 or 8 different varieties or types of sherry? Bordering from very dry up to sweet, things like your Fino, your Amontillado, Palacatado, Oloroso, Pedro Jimenez. And Oloroso is the last of the dry sherries before you get into the sweet range. But Oloroso is the sherry type that most distilleries have decided works. Sorry, most Scottish distilleries have decided works best with their spirit. So, you know, the likes of Glenfarclas, Macallan, Aberlour, Tamdhu, Glendronach, all the distilleries that favour sherry cask maturation will deliberately seek out casks that have previously been seasoned with Oloroso sherry to get the flavour profile and the character that they're looking for.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Excellent. Well, with all these comments going, if you want to, something we should have said right at the beginning, of course, is that if you want to keep a smidge of each in your glass as you go along, it's always good to return back after it's opened up in the glass for an hour or so, and just to see how they've progressed, how they've changed. Sometimes, as Andrew, you've done that me in almost every virtual, you come back to the first one or second one after that, you get past the fifth one and go, wow, this is incredible.
Andrew, we're the same. I do it too.
Yeah. If mine often don't last that long. We'll see how we go. Okay. So whiskey number 4. Shall we move on? Okay. So I'm going to throw this up on screen. Scooshy Stroopwafel.
I've been super excited to taste this.
Me too.
I just couldn't get over the fact that this is actually like stroopwafel. So if you've ever had stroopwafel, the Dutch pressed sort of caramel pancake things.
And you meant to, like, if you get them from the grocery store, you meant to put them over your hot cup of coffee to warm the caramel on the inside before you eat it.
Yeah, it's caramel in a glass.
It's no longer the case, so don't bother. The whole platform's gone now. But to log into the admin and back pages of the Scotch and Whisky Society's website back in 2007, the password was stroopwafel.
Oh.
It's a fun piece of whiskey history, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't think that's going to come up at pub trivia this Saturday, but you know.
Yeah.
It is still going to live in my brain though for a long time.
That's a sharp nose for 50%, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
got to be a heat to it.
If you told me we'd gone up in ABV, I'd have believed you just on the back of the nose.
Mm.
It's just there's so much orchid fruit underneath that initial sharpness.
Yeah, there's a bit of that stewed peaches.
Yeah. And this is the PX that we're getting into, hey?
Mm.
Yeah.
You can now say PX, Andrew.
Oh, PX, Andrew.
Thank you. Good.
And again, this is a combo. So refill X Hoggy, first fill Oloroso, and PX butts. Is that right?
Yeah, so a combination of different casks here. A bit of Oloroso, a bit of PX, and a bit of refill bourbon. So really covering all the 3 main bases there. But it was a small batch single malt. So just to touch on one of the Heresy aspects for a second, the Heresy bottlings have been blended malts, blended grain whiskies, single malts, even a cognac. And what else was there? There's been all sorts of just experimental things that have happened through that range, which are an opportunity to Irish whiskies, of course, as well. And we'll probably see some. Actually, yeah, I won't go into detail right now, but one of the heresies we're seeing through next year is something in an entirely different category altogether, which is very exciting. It's still whiskey. It's just something we've never done before, and I think it's very exciting. But these projects, I mean, it just like a single cask, you have to appreciate that these projects, especially something like Spruce and Loose, is years and years in the making. It's not just, these are some casks that we thought we'd sort of batch together or blend together. These are projects that have mapped out years in advance. And when I was over in the UK, even working on what we call the NPD team of the new product development and seeing what's coming through, it's like there's projects in there that say have got, earmarked like 2029, 2031 sort of date ranges on them. It's like, okay, so that's when we expect to see that project come to fruition based on what Euan's working on. And that's all a dark art with him sometimes, because it's all sort of wrapped up in all sorts of different ideas and projects that he's always just got on the boil. It's kind of like a mad scientist, Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing going on over there. But this is fun stuff. This is the sort of the interesting stuff. And I think Scooshy is a good example of one that's a bit definitely different. That cask makeup, those PX, the PX casks in this usage, I think have been used marvelously well.
Yeah,
Matt,
it's
there's
like dulce de leche. It's
Oh, yeah, a bit of that.
Yeah.
Matt, there's
Yeah.
a follow-up question from Stephen Hodge. Do you want to just bring that up and we'll just
Yeah. There's probably a few comments we just need to touch base on. Here we go. Fascinating. Thanks, AD. Have a Glendronach in front of me and living in Spain for 13 years. There you go, mate.
And there's his next comment.
PX question mark.
There you go. So PX is Pedro Jimenez. You said in your previous comment about Glendronach. Now, Glendronach have made a name for themselves for some amazing releases that they put out in form of Pedro Jimenez casks. So a bit like the Oloroso cask, a PX cask is one that previously held Pedro Jimenez sherry. And Pedro Jimenez is in the sweet category of sherries, and it's where they actually dry the grapes out in the sun to concentrate the sugars, and hence you get the much sweeter drink from it. If you're curious about this, at the risk of being a little self-indulgent, if you go to the website Whiskey and Wisdom, that's whiskeyandwisdom.com, there's actually an article there called The Whiskey Lover's Guide to Sherry. And it goes through all the sherries, but specifically from the point of view of a whiskey lover, and understanding all the different sherries and the role they play in the whiskey industry. So you can check that out.
Yeah.
An amazing thing to be able to taste as well. I don't know if Whiskey and Ailment still has PX and Oloroso on pour. Lockie, you might know, but if you guys...
I don't.
No? Well, if you notice a bar is using sherry as a component in their cocktails, ask if you can just taste a tiny bit of the PX or the Oloroso or whatever it may be, because it's beautiful.
Just to give an Australian distillery a shout out, Joadja Distillery here in New South Wales, just down in Bowral, they actually do produce a PX at their facility there, and they get casks all the way in from Jerez in Spain. And there's a bunch of us who are very familiar with it, and we all agree it is brilliant PX and the equal of some of the stuff that we've tried straight out of Spain. So they're doing it well. So if you want to buy PX and support an Australian producer, Joadja would be one to check out.
Could not agree more. Love Joadja. Love their stuff.
This is the comments on this one are overwhelming. This is wonderful. The winner so far. Betty says it's a bit like maple syrup in a glass.
I agree with maple syrup. Yeah.
Yeah. Dov reckons Heresy cognac, that would be interesting. Favorite so far over here as well. So much tinned peaches for me. Yeah, okay. Tinned peaches. I'm not getting too many tinned peaches, not of myself, but it's very
syrupy.
It's very syrupy.
Yeah.
And a good example of finishing in PX as well. A lot of whiskeys overdo it with finishing in PX. I couldn't agree more. Rum and raisin ice cream in wafer biscuits. I think PX is a bit like sauternes or rum casks, that they should be sparingly used and very properly used in terms of finishing or maturation or extra maturation of whiskies. That's
actually raised a question for me, or maybe I was misunderstanding. I thought that these components were fully aged in their respective oak types, like how it says refill ex bourbon, first fill ex Oloroso hogsheads for Spanish Splendor. Is that full maturation in those and then they're married?
In some cases, in others not. So I think this one was finished.
Yeah. It's a bit all of it. It's whatever is necessary, right? So, some releases, for example, like Spruce on Loose, is components matured in ex bourbon, and then a couple of years in the stout, and then brought together with other 17-year-old full maturation in bourbon. Spanish Splendor is, some stock that's matured entire way in sherry, some entire way in bourbon. Scoochy Stroopwafel would be the same kind of components in the entire way, some extra maturations, just to create the best possible release.
Yeah, got it.
Just going back to that peaches note, if you actually take your bottle and you take the cap off and put it up to your ear, you can actually hear the presidents of the USA doing their song.
It's an old reference, but it still checks out. That one. That was good. Like
that was great.
Extremely mid-tier 90s band. That was good.
Millions of peaches.
That was the name of a release we did with a certain Welsh distillery.
Yeah, a Welsh distillery.
Yeah. I mean, that was because there was a Welsh one, wasn't there? So I'm just going to throw some comments up for us to go through. These Heresy bottles are absolute genius. Super interesting, delicious whiskey at a mid-dram price point and lovely drinking strength. Massive fan crew. I love to hear that. That's the whole point of them. 50% is a good drinking strength, and it drinks well at 50%, and they're designed to be just enjoyed at an approachable price as well, which is kind of the fun of it. Yes, good. Feels like more than 50% on the palate. Yeah, I think we were all agreeing on that. This
It's got some spice that is cleverly disguised as alcohol, or the other way around.
And go the strip off from Stephen, absolutely. And a quick one for Matt Lucky AD. The recent emergence of the sherry bodega cask is the SMUS applying any criteria to that, i.e. years of sherry storage. The bodega casks are standouts. Yeah, actually, we talked about this on a team training today. It was about how there's sort of really two main types of sherry casks that you can source. One is ex-bodega and one is ex-seasoned. If it says it's ex-bodega, then it is. If it doesn't say anything, it could be either, but is often seasoned. There's pros and cons to both, really. The pros of the bodega casks is that they are often stunning examples of usage in whiskey, and we've got a lot of great relationships with Bias and Vasima and a few others that we source these casks from. However, seasoned usually means that you are guaranteed a lot more consistency and a better price point of sourcing. So bodega casks, the ones that we've sourced for, especially from Bias, have been anywhere between 35 to 100 and something years old. However, the seasoned ones are all somewhere between 2 and 5 years old.
You can order that as well, right? When you're working with these suppliers that season the casks for you, you can say, I want sherry to have been in there for 6 months. I want it to have been in there for 3 years. Like the amount of control that you have.
Control of season is much better.
Consistency, yeah,
and so there's pros and cons to both. I mean, if you get one that does say ex bodega, and it's then if that's your flavor, then go for it. They're usually a bit richer, a bit rounder, and they are dearer to source, but they are fantastic whiskeys. So if you see that. They might be a few dollars more in an outturn sometimes, those whiskies, but they are worth the price of admission, I promise you.
I was very privileged a week or two ago to go to a tasting that featured what the society would call distillery number 1. And they were featuring a 70-year-old whiskey that was distilled and put into cask in 1953. Wow. And it had a certain character. And I was in touch with the owner of the distillery to say, that this was amazing. And one of the points he made was that back in the 50s, it was genuinely and literally a transport cask.
Yeah,
it was the cask that were just there to transport the stuff. And so they were typically thicker and more robust than the regular casks that were being made for the bodegas at the time. And so he reckons that's one of the reasons why that cask lasted 70 years. Was just because of the fact that it was made as a transport cask, and certainly there was no such thing as a seasoning cask back then, but it wasn't a bodega cask either. So there's a third category out there if you can go back to a distillery that's got stuff that's old enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Well, yeah, by definition, thanks to Spain changing the rules in the 1980s, you're right, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I think, Andrew, you and I tasted a transport cask whiskey a few years ago as well that didn't hold up very well.
Most sherry casks transport me somewhere, so.
You had it locked and loaded, didn't you?
Mate, look at this shirt. Everything's off the cuff. Don't worry.
Wait, have we got to zoom in? Andrew? What is shirt? What is this? What have we got here? Look at this.
Very sharp.
Very sharp.
I'm on brand.
We all are a bit tonight. This is great.
I forgot my You'd never know though. My hair's covering my lapel anyway. So.
Hey, if I had hair, I'd be covering mine as well. Don't worry.
We'll just trade for someone.
You got glorious hair, Andrew. Don't worry about it. Glorious.
I spent 10 minutes on my hair before we started this, but I left it back in the house.
The hair, the glasses. They say women are high maintenance.
It really is just all the glasses. It's just all the glasses in this case. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, I think it might be time for us to try whiskey number 5.
I think so.
Now, I'm going to bring this up on screen. Here we go.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, this is. Now, the team here at SMWS Australia are already sick of me talking about this whiskey because I've been sort of obsessing over it for a little while. This one's coming up in the bumper November-December outturn. For those not playing along, I'll just quickly mention outturn. There are physical copies in the wild now. I don't have one in front of me because I was frantically trying to organize the tech side of everything, and I've left the physical copies of outturn out in the other room. However, I will just mention that November-December outturn is 5 weeks of massive releases. So we're doing 8 or 9 releases every week. And last Friday, was the first batch of releases, many of which have sold really well and might on the cusp of selling out in the next day or so. And of course, this Friday is the next outturn release, being, of course, the 21st. So outturn, the next outturn week lands on the 21st, and I can't remember which week it is. Adam's really good at reminding me about these things, and then when I get on live, I've forgotten. But this is the 5 PD potion, and it hasn't gone on sale just yet. There are some bottles available as a preview tonight. If you tuned in tonight, you've made it this far, and you scan that QR, you can get one. This is actually what I would call the truest version of a heresy. And what I mean by that is this is for member approval. What do members think of this? And we're seeking out that approval either via socials, via email, via the chat thread in this very tasting. Because the reason being is because this distillery does not have a code yet. We have not bottled this distillery as a single cask ever from the society. This is the first time we've ever bottled this whiskey from this distillery. And this is a very exciting whiskey. I was in the UK when this was being sort of workshopped and this came to fruition. And all I remember Kai saying to me was, you've got to try this. This is some of the best peated whiskey we've tasted all year. And I remember thinking, that's a big claim because there's a lot of things going through panel. And I tasted this when it finally landed. I was so excited, actually. We actually air freighted a few bottles in for some events, but this is an example of one where I think that this is showcasing the new world of Scottish whiskey distilling, and showing that there's some distilleries out there, not to give too many clues away, that might exist in Fife, in the region.
Peaty Scotland. What is going
peaty
on?
Lowlands whiskey.
Wow.
That massive area of Fife.
That massive area of Fife with one whiskey distillery in it.
And there's some, and some mash filtering.
Yeah. Ferment.
What
This
is
distillery is
going
doing
on?
some crazy stuff.
So chin and Nick.
But this is like it's just the texture. This is a masterclass in texture. This was just like
No.
the oily character of this, the absolute malt character, the distillate, and the use of casks here is just phenomenal.
It's absolutely excellent. I've been so excited to taste this. Since I saw it get released in the UK, and I became obsessed with trying to taste this whiskey.
By the way, okay. Good to hear this comment here. Like,
Oh,
definitely want more from this distillery. 166 question mark. I think it's actually going to be closer to 168. This code, but it's very exciting to see this one come out. This will get bottled. We'll bottle single casks. Don't worry. But this is a heresy release. This is a 50%. This is here's what we're working on. Here's sort of the first step into this code, and I'm just excited to taste a peated Lowland whiskey.
To pick up on Miranda's point, this is the one that has a mash filter. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
That's
talking
Archie Rose. Wow.
and clean and
It
technical.
is Algiros. Yes, you are correct.
Super. That's a super Lowland. Really Lowland. It's like on the other side of the earth, sort of Lowland.
Antipodean Lowland.
on a serious note, though, how amazing and incredible is it with the explosion of distilleries in Fife? There's a bunch of them in that area now. It's huge.
Absolutely. I mean, this one's the big boy in that area, but it's
Is it one of this age in that area?
surprisingly smooth. Says Stephen Hodge. Yeah, I'd agree. It's very very easy to drink.
How long's Kingsbarn's been around for? They'd be pushing 8-9 years by now, wouldn't they?
I guess 10, yeah.
Yeah, close to 10.
This is so cool though. Like with Heresy, you kind of got a snapshot of where the Scotch whisky industry is at right now. You know, you've got this peated Fife distillery with their technologically advanced, ultra modern and clean, precise peat and their mash filtering. And you've got this multimodal distillery with all their different grains and custom stills, and same with this distillery as well. And it's just really showing the breadth of Scotch whisky right now.
It's giving breadth.
Yeah, it's giving breadth. That's what I'm getting off this tasting, Matt. It's just so much range.
That's a stunning drop,
isn't it?
That's excellent. It's genuinely excellent.
I love Joel's comment. I poured myself an inch of this. I love that you're measuring your drams in inches. It's like it's not. I didn't pour myself a dram, but I didn't pour myself 30 or 40 mils, but I poured an inch of this into the glass.
Well, I think Joel's also giving us a cryptic clue there too.
Oh, darn.
I did not.
Done.
Yes, a very good inch reference there.
Yeah, capital I and everything.
Interesting. My style, yes.
Also, something to note, this distillery, if I understand correctly, I believe they only produce a peated spirit for 2 weeks of the year. It's a very small part of their output.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's quite a few distilleries who do that.
Yeah, that's a remarkable nose on it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the texture, as you were saying, study in texture.
Studying texture. Yeah,
That
it's
is
just
just
clinging
oily.
to the glass.
It's
Beautiful.
for me, it's like coconut cream. It's got that kind of real kind of
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
And when did these guys start up? Like 10 years ago, 2015-ish?
Yeah, about 10 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to struggle to leave a bit of this behind to try later because I'm about to finish it all right now. It's just too good.
Yeah.
I like the name PD Potion for it as well.
Now, everyone
know-
here is already a member. I'm pretty sure everyone watching along will be a member. In case you're not, though, I'm just going to throw this up on the screen real quick. We are actually running a promotion at the moment for membership, which includes your first bottle and includes a half-size bottle as well. I had someone on one of our virtuals or tastings or something the other week comment about these whiskies on the table behind me on screen, and they didn't know what are these doing here and what are they. I'm just going to expand our screen just for a brief moment, fellas. Here we go. So we've got these single casks. Miranda, you're half cut off there. I'm so sorry. So which are a 121, a 48, and a 78 that are 350 mil size. Get one of those along with your membership. Complimentary. So
Can't say no.
can't say no. Can't say no.
Actually, that's a fantastic offer. I'm just going to
Just Andrew's rejoining.
I'll join under a pseudonym, under a different name. That's
Yeah, please don't sign up your dogs or underage children, but otherwise, everyone else is welcome to join if you're not already a member, which I'm assuming many of you are. We've also got a nice little kit on the site, which has got a little bit of a few dollars off it at the moment, which is if you were trying to get one of those Dungeons & Nougat that were mentioned earlier, it's in the Start with Heresy bundle. It's a nice bundle of 3 bottles of the Heresy range to get you into it for $4.99. $4.99 for 3 bottles is a very good value in that case. But we'll just stick with this 5 PD potion, see how we're going with this at the moment. This one's just landed. We're really excited to get this into outturn in time.
Like David was saying, this is a hard one to keep just left in glass.
Yeah.
Darkness to it, like a redness, a real underbelly, like plums and dark grain and
Yeah. It's got the
you know those whiskies we get occasionally where you're with friends, you crack open the bottle and you have a dram or two, and then you turn around and the bottle's empty. I just think this could be one of them. It's just so drinkable, so incredibly approachable. There's not a harsh, rough, or aggressive note in it. Incredibly soft.
Punch a day whiskey is what I would normally call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, and just touching on Miranda's point there, it's multifaceted as well. Yes, there's peat, but you're getting that sweetness from all the different cask types that have contributed to this. There is an underbelly of fruit. I think you said dark fruits or was it dark fruits or dark grain you said, but there's something there.
I also get a lot of burnt pork fat going on.
Oh yeah.
for sure. And the style of this peat compared to glass number 1, the gastronomic fusion. You want to talk about differences in peat? That we've got them right here.
I love that note of dunnage mustiness and dark grain. So like sort of dark rye bread or rye loaf.
Oh, I feel validated.
Yeah, Schwarzbrot or something like that.
Dark crazy.
Yeah.
Dark grains, yeah.
I think you said rye bread there, Matt. That's a great call.
Yeah, rye bread, yeah. I mean, I think maybe I just bounced off Miranda's dark. What was
Maybe I said plums and like dark grains, but
Dark grains,
I don't know
yeah.
if anyone wants to back me up on screen. Feel free. Because
I entirely agree with you, Miranda, on the plums and dark grains, and yeah, the Schwarzbrot or what is it? The pumpernickel.
Dram of the tasting, so many great notes. Barbecue chips and dark chocolate, more notes than a John Williams score.
What a great note.
I've heard that before. I'm very sorry about that, Darren and Carla. There we go. These things happen. It is, now, this comment's interesting. It's super sophisticated compared to glass 1 for sure. So if you come back to 1, if you've got a smidge of glass 1 left, if you do.
Matchsticks.
Oh, yeah, like spent matchsticks. Like,
Yeah.
That's
I've actually got some thoughts about the comparison between 1 and 5, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
So 1 now is all like dry and really kind of minerally. It's all like chalk, and let's be honest, between 2 of them, it's chalk and cheese. There's so much sweetness and fruit, like Miranda was saying, that's like plums and the grainy sweetness that you'll find on 5, but on 1, it's chalkboard erasers and it's slaty.
It's interesting because you're obviously comparing something that was wholly matured in bourbon cask with something that's had sherry cask maturation. So notwithstanding even the grain is different.
No, it's the peat itself that I'm comparing it to. It's the peat is so dry. It's not got that rich earthiness that you'll find in the 5th class from that particular lowland distillery.
But there's also I forgot to give a bit of a sort of quick backstory on this particular heresy as well. That I hope I'm not getting in trouble for saying this one either. But this is the second title for this one. This got renamed to 5 PD Potion.
Oh, what was the first title?
The first title was Fife Up Your Life, which is a reference to Spice Up Your Life because
it is
a Spice Girls fan.
Oh my gosh! Okay, best fact ever. All live
he's actually a Spice Girls fan, and so he's always tried to like shoehorn Spice Girls references into names of whiskies.
I love it
when he's on panel. So it's sort of like he tried to call this one Spice Up Your Life or Fife Up Your Life, sorry, and eventually it had to morph for reasons of let's not get sued by the Spice Girls or something. But like I don't know, there's something.
And they would too.
Yeah, something would go wrong, but I think there was a few sort of name changes, a few names, and a few different artworks that we saw for this one. I actually liked this artwork the most for the bottle, but the other ones were quite inventive and had sort of like maybe one of the artworks had a sort of Gary Halliwell reference somewhere, but it was sort of like the whole.
I like that reference. I stayed in a really fancy hotel in St Andrews that was called Posh Fife, so I've got it. That's right.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't want to come up against Mel B. So
yeah. Dear oh dear. Excellent. Well, that concludes the formalities for this evening. I hope everyone's enjoyed this.
Not that we've been all that formal tonight, but anyway.
It's been fun, absolute joyous occasion. Miranda, thank you so much for joining us live in the studio.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Lockie and Andrew, thank you so much for joining us virtually for the virtual. And it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope everyone gets to enjoy the rest of their drams if they've got anything left in their glasses. Doesn't sound like much for that last one. No, not at all.
Merry Christmas, Betty.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Betty. And great to see some of these comments coming through from before. And Merry Christmas all from Betty. Yes, lovely. And meaty bacon, cool, love it. There is one more virtual for the year. The December virtual will be on sale shortly, which is the big Christmas virtual. I think it's got like 8 or something, 9 drams in the tasting pack. Wow. It's an absolute
something crazy.
Yeah, some crazy number. It's a big virtual featuring many of the December malts in December outturn. But December and November are one big bumper outturn. You can pick up a physical copy at some of our events coming up at the Christmas parties and elsewhere. You can pick them up at some of the partner bars, or you can check out the, of course, outturn online as always. Thank you so much for everyone coming along for the ride. Thank you everyone who threw in all their comments. One last one. Here we go. Go back to number 2. Oh my God, says Darren. And by the way, Stephen says has been a great experience for my first virtual. Stephen, I didn't realize it was your first virtual. Welcome to the virtuals. Welcome to the club. We do these every month. They're a lot of fun just for us to send out some samples and taste a few things with members, especially I'm going to say it. I mean, it's members who live quite far away from anywhere where we host events. It's always great you see them tuning in. But even if you do live near events and you just want to get some drams along the way, it's a great way for you to try things from Outturn, or even in this case, upcoming releases. And it was a great tasting. I can't wait for the next tasting. And I just really appreciate these comments because it just shows that we're doing something a little bit right sometimes, which also means that we're also trialing something that we've never done. Like Heresy virtual like this is quite unusual. It follows a bit more of a sort of a way of going through all the sort of the single casks as we.
I just want to say as well, I've really appreciated this. It's really cool to be able to try so much of the Heresy range and see how different distillates respond to different types of oak and what Euan can do, and all of the breadth that the amazing Scotch Malt with Sadi Bond Store has, and what you can do to play with it. So it was really fun as a SMWS lover and diehard. This is my first full lineup of just Heresy, and wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a great point, Miranda. And I think also I agree with you, because there are plenty of members who see our outturns and for one reason or another, they just gravitate towards the single casks and what I would call the main stuff. And for whatever reason, Heresy doesn't always appeal to some people for reasons you can't put your finger on. And this just demonstrated tonight that if you've overlooked Heresy bottlings in the past, you've probably done yourself a disservice, because there's some great stuff here.
Yeah. And that's a great point in general. And I was always very confused as to why, and we mentioned it a couple of times already, that Dunwich Nougat just didn't go the way that we expected it to, because it was a spectacular and phenomenal bottling, and yet still it just, people didn't gravitate towards it the way I thought it would. I thought it would just, cease to exist as far as the Australian market went.
Some vanished quicker than others, definitely. And I mean, I think it's a matter of just getting them into the glass and people tasting them and going, actually, these are really good. And in this case, and also very affordable in a way to have, like what someone earlier said, a good midweek dram. It's not something, but it's good fun either way.
That 5p potion, like you said, a pint a day dram.
So cool.
But it's my turn, but
yeah,
that bottle would just disappear if it's in my house.
Cool. Well, that's us. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate your time, guys, and we'll see you all for the December virtual. I think I misspoke earlier, and a few people are correcting me in the comments that the December virtual has sold out. My mistake.
Oh,
it appears it has. Okay, I'm sorry, but there you go. I learn something every day. I forgot about that. And we'll see you all at some of the Christmas parties coming up, which again I think have all mostly sold out.
I'll be in the Melbourne one. See you there.
See you there. And good to hear some of the winners coming through from tonight's tasting. Really great. Fife and Spanish are the winners for me. I think I'm agreeing with that comment. Fife and Spanish to me as well. It's with Squishy a close third.
Oh no, I gotta say, Spruce on the loose.
It's coming back.
Sprucey on the loose.
Yeah, make it come back. It's giving comeback vibes.
It's
giving resurgence. Thanks, team. See you all soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now. Cheers.
See you guys.